Undertaker set up for the tube, driven down to the canvas.
What happens when pro wrestlers have to hang up the boots while they're still relatively young? Some go on to accomplish pretty big things outside the ring. Mideon, real name Dennis Knight, worked the indies in between a stint in WCW in 1992. Mideon bounced around promotions with several themed gimmicks, working under names like Leatherface and Tex Slazenger. He finally joined the WWF in 1996 under the name Phineas I. Godwin, and years later emerged as Mideon when he joined the Ministry of Darkness after being sacrificed by The Undertaker. In 2005, Mideon's wrestling career came to a close, but closing one chapter opened another, and Mideon was able to realize another dream, becoming a chef. When WWE.com caught up with him in 2013, he worked as a chef in several kitchens in Florida, and even started his own catering company, Dennis Knight Catering. Knight also entered a favorite chef contest at favechef.com in 2021, and has talked about how his next dream is to become a Food Network star. Steve Blackman debuted in the WWF in 1997 and quickly made a name for himself as a martial arts badass. Nicknamed the Lethal Weapon, Blackman was known for his quick strikes, no-nonsense attitude, and creative usage of various weapons. This butt-kicking persona led to Blackman winning the Hardcore Championship 6 times during his short WWF-WWE career. Blackman left WWE in 2002 and a year later opened a martial arts school where he taught wrestling and jiu-jitsu. That's not particularly surprising, but his latest career move is a little more unexpected. Blackman is now a bail bondsman. That's right, you can call Blackman bail bonds to get out of jail. Just don't skip court after doing so, because you won't want the Lethal Weapon coming after you.
If you want out of jail, call Blackman for bail.
Originally a henchman for William Regal in WWE, Paul Burchill underwent quite the gimmick change in 2006. He debuted a pirate gimmick on SmackDown and surprisingly defeated Regal with a creative and slightly confusing finisher. Burchill stuck around in WWE for a few years and moved to the ECW brand for a while before being released in 2010. So where is Burchill, whose real last name is spelled slightly differently but pronounced the same now? Well, he's not a swashbuckling pirate. He's actually helping people in need. He started working as a firefighter toward the end of his wrestling career. The former wrestler told WWE.com in 2014, "Firefighting suited my attributes of being physical, being able to use tools, and getting to do cool stuff." Burchill has also worked as a paramedic and emergency room nurse, and in 2017 he told Wrestling Epicenter that he was working on his master's degree with hopes to become a nurse practitioner, and shockingly, he may be returning to the ring later this year. Deborah Miceli built up her name as Madusa before joining WWF in 1993, where she made a name switch to Alundra Blayze. She won the WWF Women's Championship 3 times and famously dropped that title in a trash can on WCW Monday Nitro in 1995. In WCW, Miceli proved she could also hang with the men when she competed in a tournament for the WCW World Championship and feuded with Evan Courageous. She later became the first woman in history to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship in 1999 and made it into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. Since retiring from wrestling, Miceli has carved out a niche for herself in another male-dominated sport, monster truck driving. She has made a healthy living by competing and winning championships in Monster Jam, driving a truck with her trademarked Madusa name.
They do have a nickname for me, and that's called Queen of Carnage. Just saying.
If that's not impressive enough, she has also kept busy running a pet spa in Florida. Rick Steiner, real name Robert Rex Steiner, was an amateur-style wrestler with a bulky build and a non-stop work ethic. He put in work everywhere: WCW, WWF, ECW, NJPW, TNA, and various indie promotions, mostly in a tag team with his brother Scott. The Steiner brothers won tag team championships across several of the aforementioned promotions. The duo ended up earning an induction into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2022. While no longer an active wrestler, the dog-faced gremlin has made television appearances as recently as 2022. He celebrated on-screen with his son Braun Breaker when he won the NXT Championship and has even been involved in recent storylines. But when Steiner is not being kidnapped by NXT superstar Joe Gacy, he's working as a real estate broker in Atlanta and is a board member on the Cherokee County Board of Education. The wrestling character Val Venis, portrayed by Sean Morley, was an adult film star. It's one of the most memorable and controversial gimmicks of the WWF's Attitude Era. Venis had some notable feuds in the 90s, including one where he seduced Ken Shamrock's in-storyline sister, Ryan. He underwent a significant character change in the 2000s when he joined the Right to Censor stable, renouncing his promiscuous ways. Morley's full-time wrestling days are in the rear view. Nowadays, he is pretty active on social media and works at a marijuana dispensary in Arizona. Morley says that cannabis actually saved his life, telling Inquisitor in 2015, "Doctors had me on anti-inflammatories and pain pills for years. You can't take those things for the rest of your life without suffering serious consequences. And when I found out about marijuana and started utilizing that instead in 2008, I came off all pharmaceuticals and never looked back." Glenn Jacobs underwent several character changes when he started out in the WWF. For example, he was briefly dentist character Isaac Yankem, DDS. He finally settled in as Kane, debuting as the character in 1997 by pile-driving his in-storyline brother, The Undertaker. Kane was a horror movie character come to life. Jacobs was literally a horror movie character too when he starred in the 2006 slasher film See No Evil and its 2014 sequel. Kane did it all in WWE. He won world championships, tag team championships, the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he holds the record for most Royal Rumble eliminations with 46. Jacobs' wrestling career reached its peak when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2021. Jacobs' full-time wrestling days are behind him. He's busy being a politician now. In 2018, he was elected mayor of Knox County, Tennessee as a Republican. He easily won re-election in 2022, though his new career has drawn some ire from his old co-workers. Former wrestlers Mick Foley, Sean Waltman, and Lance Storm have all publicly criticized Jacobs for his recent controversial opinions on gun violence and the Supreme Court's ruling to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Conservative principles work, especially fiscally conservative principles, and that's what I'm all about.
Jimmy Wang Yang, real name James Yun, wrestled in WWE from 2006 to 2010. He never won any championships, but did have good matches with fellow cruiserweights, including Chavo Guerrero.
Underneath. Insult of his own. They have the champion. Hooks the leg. He got it.
Yun's redneck Asian character was over the top and occasionally offensive, but there was a little truth to his character. Yun grew up in Georgia, which is where he naturally developed his southern accent. Yun hasn't abandoned the redneck theme for his current profession either. He started up Jimmy's Redneck Party Bus, where customers can enjoy the sights of Cincinnati while drinking with their buddies and partying like a redneck. Yun said on an episode of Where Are They Now on the WWE Network, "My favorite thing to do with the party bus is tailgate sports games. Bengals fans, they love the Redneck Party Bus." Son of WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Stasiak, Shawn, whose real last name is Stipich, made his WWF debut as Meat in 1999. He was relegated to jobber rather quickly, and his second run in the promotion did not produce much different results, even after dropping the Meat moniker. Stipich's biggest contribution was his gimmick as a clumsy wrestler trying to impress Stone Cold Steve Austin by failing to attack other wrestlers. He would often run into things like Kurt Angle's milk truck. Luckily, Stipich was able to find success in other business ventures outside of the ring. He currently works as a motivational speaker where he dresses up as a character named Phobia and talks to school children about facing fears and bullying. Stipich is also a successful chiropractor with a practice in Texas. Tyrone Evans went by Michael Tarver during his short-lived WWE career. After appearing on NXT, Evans showed up on Monday Night Raw as one of the original 8 members of the Nexus and helped beat down a helpless John Cena. He didn't last long, though. He was written off television and released just a year later after suffering a groin injury. He hit the indie circuit soon after and has made sporadic appearances in the ring over the years. While Evans has closed the book on his full-time wrestling career, he has shifted to another type of performance, rapping. Evans is currently a Christian rapper who goes by the name Monster Tarver. He said on the DeFix radio show,
2010, I kind of had a spiritual awakening and found myself wanting to seek out Christian hip-hop or Christian music.
Evans has a YouTube channel where he releases freestyles and battle raps, and he signed with record labels God Over Money and Menace Movement Records in 2022. Mark Kopani's short wrestling career as Muhammad Hassan came to a controversial halt, but that led Kopani to a new career for which he is grateful. Kopani is Italian-American, not actually Arabic, but he nonetheless played a convincing character as Hassan, a disgruntled Arab-American upset about his post-9/11 treatment in the United States. His 2004 debut kickstarted an 8-month run where Hassan was one of the company's top mega heels. Unfortunately, that was cut short when the WWE decided to run an angle which featured several radicalized men in ski masks attacking The Undertaker on Hassan's behalf. This angle occurred just after the London Underground bombings on July 7, 2005. Instead of the WWE taking the heat for the angle, Kopani was inexplicably the one who was punished for the backlash. Kopani was removed from television, and instead of being repackaged as another character, WWE released him altogether. Kopani has expressed his disapproval about the direction that WWE took the Hassan character, telling Chris Van Vliet in an interview that the character wasn't appropriate.
It became very insensitive towards Muslim Americans and Arab American people.
The WWE's decision to release Kopani drove him to eventually quit wrestling altogether. He told Syracuse.com that his release was a blessing in disguise because of his new profession, a junior high school principal. Kopani was named principal of Fulton Junior High School in Fulton, New York in 2019.
Here's a show. Snitted runs off. Oh, what a shot.
Former WWE superstar Gene Snitsky's whole character, at least initially, was based on whether it was his fault that he caused Lita, in storyline, to miscarry her unborn baby. The mantra, "It's not my fault," was even part of his theme music. Snitsky never ended up winning any championships in the WWE, but he did leave a yellow teeth-stained mark on the company with some wild storylines and moments, including when he punted a fake baby into the crowd. That crazy storyline with Lita helped Snitsky pave the way for an eventual psychopath persona and allowed him to partake in various feuds over the next 4 years with wrestlers including CM Punk and Bobby Lashley. Snitsky announced his retirement from wrestling in 2018, but has kept busy outside of the squared circle. He currently runs a store in Pennsylvania called Priority One Surplus, which sells outdoor equipment and military supplies. He also starred in the 2019 horror movie 100 Acres of Hell and has worked as a pitchman for the Power Pressure Cooker XL by dressing up in a turkey suit and cooking under the moniker The Turkey Dude. It seems silly, but the big guy has whipped up some tasty-looking dishes. Christopher Nowinski kicked off his wrestling career by competing on Tough Enough, the wrestling reality show that saw contestants compete for a contract with the WWE. He later made his WWE debut in 2002 under his real name and used his educational background as a way to develop a character centered around the fact that he is a Harvard graduate in real life and that he was a snob about it. Nowinski didn't last long in wrestling due to frequent concussions. The effects he suffered from these concussions, depression, headaches, memory loss, are what led him to his next career. Nowinski authored the book Head Games: Football's Concussion Crisis, which detailed how head injuries have severely impacted athletes over the years and the cover-ups that have taken place to hide the impact of head injuries. In 2007, Nowinski co-founded the Concussion Legacy Foundation, and he has also served as a co-director of the Boston University Center for the Study of Traumatic Encephalopathy. The role Nowinski has played in concussion research and learning more about CTE has been absolutely crucial, making him one of the most important figures in the sports science world today.